I'm Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome to VO Buzz Weekly, the web entertainment show dedicated to the voiceover business.
That's right. And on today's show, we have Rob Paulsen, the voice of Yakko on Animaniacs and Pinky from Pinky and Duran. And you don't want to miss today's episode.
No. But before we go to Rob, we want to do a few viewer questions. Cool?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Love those.
So Ron wants to know, who owns the voices of the characters and how that works? Are the people doing the voiceovers allowed to use those voices elsewhere besides the show they're recorded for?
Wow.
That's a good question.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to answer that?
Absolutely. Well, Ron, te lo voy a decir en español para que todos lo podamos comprender. Oh, wait a minute. This is not Telemundo. It's VO Buzz Weekly. Well, I'll tell you. Well, Ron, let me give you the answer to your question, okay? If you have a character and you do it on a network or for Disney, they own it. No, seriously speaking, the characters
That was
usually...
really good, Chuck. Oh my gosh.
Well, thank you.
Okay, back to you.
If a voice actor does a character for a network or a company like Disney, the character usually belongs to them, and that's usually the way it is. For example, Bart Simpson is owned by Fox, and that's it. And can somebody like Nancy, for example, use the voice of Bart on another show? Absolutely not. So hopefully that answers your question.
Well, we're going to go to Colleen, and, now that you're on this, acting role, she wants to know if you've ever done any voice acting.
Yes, I just
now?
did it.
Exactly.
That was my extent of voice acting, ladies and
You saw
gentlemen.
it first, Colleen.
That's right. You know what, Colleen? I don't really lend my voice for voice acting, although I love directing. My niche is pulling out what the producers want. So
Yeah.
I stay with directing and I leave my singing and rocking out on stages all over the world. That's my performance side. But the other side of voiceover, I direct. There you go.
But you are the singing voice on the Disney XD show, I'm in the Band.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a character, so I am kind of acting while I'm singing.
True.
Wow.
Yeah.
Two-part question.
Yeah.
Two-part
Okay.
answer.
So, do you know the popular YouTube show, The Annoying Orange?
Yes.
Okay.
I've heard of it. I've seen it a couple of times.
The
And-
Annoying Orange.
I know. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I was looking at it. I was like, what?
I know.
Okay.
Anyway, apparently Cartoon Network finds it not annoying because they have picked it up, gotten the rights to do a half-hour animated show. Sometime this year it's going to premiere.
You're kidding,
so,
right?
yeah. No.
No?
No, this is not my kidding face. No. So the co-creators Dane Bodigheimer, hope I said
Wow.
that right, and Tom Shepard from Pinky and the Brain, they're psyched, yeah?
Absolutely.
So check out their statistics, though. They have over 850 million total views on the YouTube channel.
Wow.
And of course, it's rising
Yeah.
as
And
we
of
speak.
course, now that we're announcing this on VO Buzz Weekly, they're going to have probably double that.
I
So-
know. And it's also the 9th most subscribed to channel with over 2 million subscribers. Yeah.
Wild.
And they have over 10 million followers on Facebook and Twitter.
Jeez Louise.
Right? So there you
This
go.
is insane.
So enough about oranges.
Yes.
Let's talk to Rob.
Absolutely.
Okay, you guys, it is time. Our guest today is voiceover royalty. He has over 250 different animated voices to his credit, like Yakko and Dr. Scratch and Sniff on Animaniacs, Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. He has multiple Daytime Emmys, multiple Annie Awards. He has a weekly podcast. He is a public speaker, and he's just an all-around awesome guy. We are so honored to have on VO Buzz Weekly today the amazing Rob Paulsen.
Rob Paulsen.
Hello.
Welcome to VO Buzz
Nice
Weekly,
to see
man.
you. Hello, sweetie.
Thank you for
So
being
good
here.
to have
Thank
you.
you. My pleasure,
Wow.
you guys. Thank you.
What an
Oh,
awesome
please.
guy. Any-
Come on, I can't
Let's
enough.
just
I
take
can't.
them.
Rob's here, man.
I
Wait,
know.
we're not worthy.
Yeah, no genuflecting allowed. You guys. Come on.
How you doing? Listen, I want to thank you first of all for taking time out of your busy schedule and
My
coming down
pleasure.
here and
Not at
sharing
all.
with us. Because we always talk to the viewers and we tell them we bring people on the show not just for them to go talk about what they do and what
Right.
they have done, but also to share with them and maybe help them. Maybe
Yeah,
give them a little nugget
absolutely, yeah.
that's going to help them get to where they want to go, maybe where you're at or close to where you're at.
Right.
And we really, really appreciate you coming down here and sharing
Yeah.
with all of us.
Pleasure. I came because she's really pretty.
She is, you know what? Let's
Stacey
just
is
say it
And
just-
I gave him
Say it like it is.
$20.
She's hot.
She is hotter than Georgia asphalt. I'm telling
He
you.
said asphalt.
That's right. Sorry. No,
Still
it's
rated
honest.
G. We're still rated G.
My pleasure. Really, truly, it's such a pleasure. I saw the one with our brother Jess, and I just
good.
went, "This is very cool."
Nice.
So you guys, and as I told people, you're right. I do a podcast pretty much weekly, and today I said I'm sorry, but I wasn't able to do my podcast this week due to scheduling conflicts. but I'm going to be doing Voiceover Buzz Weekly, and I got all these responses on Facebook and Twitter about, we love that, so you guys have really created quite a buzz, no pun intended,
Hey,
very quickly.
good,
Congratulations.
Man. We're glad to hear that. That
Thank
makes
you.
us.
We appreciate the support.
Yeah.
No, it's
Makes us
terrific.
happy. We must be doing something right.
Well, and you also, people get a chance to see what we look like. You know?
I know.
mean,
That's our
when you
goal,
see-
to
That's
put
the
the
coolest
face
thing.
behind the voice. That
That's
was
very
our goal.
sweet. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. I appreciate that. I mean, you and I share a parole officer, but other than that, I never get my picture anywhere except on a post office.
Right?
You know?
Let's
Yeah.
not. They're not.
By the way, did you know that I actually have your old ankle bracelet that you got from Tommy Lee, who
still
got it from
have
eBay?
that?
Yeah. I mean, we both went to the same rehab facility.
Wow.
Joke.
Steven Tyler had to have been in there somewhere.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Well, he's a rock and roller.
Nice.
You know, you got to have a rehab rock and roller joke, but none of that stuff
That's
happens.
right.
in
Hey,
real life.
man, rock and roll rules, and we're going to get into a little bit of
Yeah.
that later. But first, I
Do you
wanna-
guys want to be alone? Or?
No. We're
Okay.
totally cool here,
Just
bro.
checking.
I want to start out by asking you a question. You probably
Please.
get asked a million times, but you know what? Sometimes there's a different answer.
Yeah.
And how did you get started in the voiceover business?
Well, I started out primarily as a singer. And when I grew up in Flint, Michigan, shining pearl of the Northern Hemisphere, gateway to Burton, which when I was a kid, I would do, local radio programs, mainly because I had a friend in high school, a guy named, a family named the Lamb family. Bob, Jeff, Bill, and Becky Lamb and their mom and dad. And Mr. Lamb used to do a radio show for Buick, which was headquartered in Flint, Michigan. And he would do the Buick factory whistle show out of his house, which was a big deal back then because there was no satellite, no ISDN, but it was wired. So he had this great production facility in his basement. And I had a band that recorded a record down there, and Bob and Jeff and I would get together and do these little sound productions. And then I would start, as a result of my association with the Lambs, I would start doing, being involved in radio commercials and local Flint radio. In trade, I was a hockey player, so they'd say, look, we'll give you a bunch of hockey sticks if you do our radio commercial.
Nice.
So
That's
it was great.
Fair trade.
Tennis rackets, it was great fun. So that's kind of where I got the bug. Also, when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of the Pythons. Peter Sellers is my hero. All those guys on the Goon Show, Harry Seacombe, Peter Sellers, Dudley Moore,
The list goes on.
yeah, all those guys were just, and as I said, the Pythons. And so I kind of got really involved listening to that, probably spending way too much time in my bedroom listening to rock and roll and British humor, and noticed that I had kind of a knack for picking up dialects. And like most kids, I watched a lot of cartoons, but I never really thought of myself as a voice actor. I was a singer first.
Right.
Then I got really involved in theater, traveled around the United States and Canada.
Mexico, Panama.
Sorry. What the hell that's
Dramatic
about? It's kind of like a
foreshadowing.
little cartoon Tourette's. It's
just
so
comes
bizarre.
out,
I don't know
right?
what
I'm gonna tell
happens.
you, your Yakko's hanging out.
Is that what it is? My Yakko's
yeah.
hanging out. And when a pretty
Sorry.
girl tells you that, kids,
Uh-oh.
it's over.
That
That was very good. My Yakko's hanging out.
That's a good one.
Take it,
Steal
use
it.
it.
Hey, you guys, my Yakko's hanging out.
Is that my Yakko? You're just glad to
Hello,
see me.
nurse.
Oh.
Yeah, baby.
So
Okay,
anyway,
guys.
so I did, traveled around the United States and Canada doing a lot of theater, and went back to Flint after spending a year on the road in a theater company. And at age 20, I guess, I joined a rock and roll band back in Flint and spent the next 2 years doing that. And we got to open for Bob Seger, and this was in the Night Moves.
Oh, that's the best.
So we're talking like
Last Supper, a long time ago. I was the entertainment at the Last Supper.
No,
by the
but
way.
I mean we're talking like peak, man.
Oh, totally. I mean, it was a big deal,
Yeah.
and it really truly was. It was a huge deal for a little rock and roll band from Flint. But you know what was great about that is that not only did I get to sing 6 nights a week, and you know because you've been in bands forever, is that it's incredible training. It really is. It teaches you, especially if you're the lead singer, and Jesse knows this, it teaches you to think on your feet. It teaches you how to deal with it when you get some whack job, liquored up knucklehead in the crowd. It teaches you how to deal with it when you make a mistake, something breaks. All of a sudden, every amplifier dies on stage. You know, microphone, adding out. Just ooh there.
That's when you lip sync.
Right,
Yeah.
you just figure it out. And it was in great training. And so when I finally moved to Los Angeles in June of 1978, which is 10 years before Stacey was born. Even.
Right.
No, I'm older than I look.
And so when I came here, it was ostensibly to be an on-camera talent and a singer. And I started getting work on cameras, doing a lot of pilots, a lot of commercials and a lot of episodic television. But as you know, there are a million average-looking white guys with SAG cards in L.A. So, and when I came here, you guys you won't even be able to just fathom this, but there were no DVDs. I mean, it was Betamaxes, and there weren't even VHS machines yet. All the cartoons were primarily ABC, CBS, and NBC on Saturday morning. There was no Nickelodeon, no 15 Disney channels, no Cartoon Network.
Cable, right?
No, there was no cable.
No cable.
No cable. This was
Imagine
before
that.
cable, way before
There were no
satellites.
cars. There were no
Toledo.
ballpoint pens.
Pre-Justin Bieber, Jesus Murphy. Of course, that was 6
What
months
did you do?
ago.
Did you have like yourself frozen in time and then
Yeah,
got
right.
back? 'Cause
Thank
you
you.
look
You
fresh.
are
Thank you, buddy.
117, and you
Yeah.
look. It's
It's
your
actually,
moisturizer.
Stacey helped me this
What do
before I
you-
came on camera. She put her
There's
foot
a
on the back of my
clamp.
head and pulled
Yeah,
like
we've
this,
got
and I
his
just
head
went.
clamped.
So I hope it doesn't snap, because
Yeah.
then
He has a clamp on the back of his
Yeah, I can't try. I got a scrunchie on the back of my neck.
Don't lean forward. Yeah.
Right, pop. So I was doing a lot of on-camera stuff, and my agent, Rita Venari, whom I'm still represented by, 30, God bless her, God, I love you so much, Rita,
Hi,
30
Rita.
odd years ago.
SBV.
They started sending me out for general auditions at Hanna-Barbera, and I started booking work, and one thing led to another, and then I would have a theatrical agent, and for those of you at home, that's an agent that takes care of your TV and movie stuff, and then you have a voiceover agent, and years ago, they really didn't even communicate. So I would get phone calls from my on-camera agent to say, hey, they want to see you on Hill Street Blues as a junkie today, or you're a young father junkie, glue-sniffing father
You're like, I could do that.
veterinarian. I'm
role
like,
of
dude,
a
I've got all that
lifetime.
experience. I've got sense
Yeah.
memory. Of
Yeah,
course.
great.
And so, and I'd say, well, I'd love to, but when can they get me in? They said, what do you mean? When your time is, this is when your time is. You don't ask them. I said, well, I'm doing Smurfs in the morning, and I'm doing, Johnny Quest in the afternoon, and those are 2 paying gigs,
Right.
plus residuals. And they're like, what are you talking about? I said, the cartoons. And they're like,
What's that?
what is that? I mean, I know that, but you're an actor. I said, well, yeah, I'm an actor, and I'm working. And I remember a terrific character actor, Alan Oppenheimer, whom I adore. I adore pretty much everybody because they're lovely people, And he said to me, because in those days we didn't have cell phones, my pager would go off. And he'd say, you're going to have to make a decision, because you're going to start getting a lot of work with your voice.
Yeah.
And is your ego able to say, I don't care about this. I don't care about that people see my face. I care about working, and I care about performing. And it wasn't really a tough call, because I started getting work, and when the checks start clearing, you go, dude,
Yeah.
this doesn't suck at all.
Yeah.
And without question, having done live, and I said this on my podcast all the time, but I can't say it enough, having done live action, stage, rock and roll, I have never worked with more purely gifted people than voice actors. Never. And I think you could probably vouch for that, because of course you both do it, but you're also having the show, and it's gotten bigger than ever. And when I get to go to work with people like Jess and Welker and Tress McNeil and Kath Soucie and Dee Bradley Baker and Jeff Bennett, the list goes on, Tom Kenny, Darren Norris, Tara Strong, it just goes on and on and on. And every time these people open their mouths, it's magical.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I've done 2,000 half hours, so I've worked a lot. And I've worked with these people, some of them like Welker, 300 times? And he still makes me go, where the hell did that come from? So that's kind of how I got into it, and it was all as a result of getting opportunities and then being ready and, and being able to deliver.
Yeah.
So yeah, I didn't come out here, to be a voice actor. I came out here to be an actor, but the way it worked out, I'm just glad I had the opportunity, and what's not to like? I go to work every day and work with people that I choose to be my friends. We're friends, and I get to see these people on a regular basis, and then they give me a check.
Yeah.
And nobody cares that this is white or green or orange, or if you've got none of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did Ninja Turtles on the first batch in 1987, 88, 89, whatever.
You were
and I
Raphael,
was
and now you're
Raphael.
Donatello, right?
25 years later.
Awesome.
How crazy is that?
Yeah,
insane.
that can happen on camera.
Can't. Yeah. And my kid told me, he said, Dad, you're going to be the answer to a Jeopardy question. It's the coolest. It's the greatest.
yeah.
It's the greatest gig in
that's
the
pretty
world.
cool. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, that was my little journey to.
And that's
here.
how it should be. That's how you wish it would be. That it's not such an ageist
Well,
thing.
and as you know, did you do on camera stuff too? You're
Yeah,
a beautiful
I still
woman.
do.
So yeah,
Thank
okay.
you, but it's always that.
Oh.
Oh no, and everyone's like, hide your age and don't show your age.
Oh,
and, oh no,
Jesus.
and do you have a little extra?
It's crazy, and they're saying, well,
really-
she's 31. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
I work with women who are beautiful, that are 60, 58, whatever. Helen Mirren is stunning. I love Helen Mirren. Meryl Streep is beautiful. But I work with all these people whom I adore in terms of their talent and their friendship, and they're beautiful women. And it's so great for them not to be relegated to this sort of showbiz trash heap because they turn 35.
Right.
It's so crazy. And I get it's all about, the look, and I get all that. But when I just started to know what the hell I was doing when I was 35 or 40 years old.
Yeah.
Paul Newman died a couple of years ago. He said he really didn't feel like he really started to get until he was 70. And he was 81 when he died,
Right.
And so when you hear a world-class Oscar-winning actor like that, because so much of what we do, irrespective of whether it's on camera or voice, has to do with life experience and absorbing things and being able to make decisions for characters based on real-life experience, even if they're fantasy characters, that your hackneyed actor phrase, your instrument isn't even really tuned up until you're 40 years old. Yeah. So if all of a sudden, you get to be a really terrific, serious actress, and they say, you're such a good actress, but you're 38. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
So don't even think about it. It's crazy. Stay where you are. No, just kidding.
What he said.
Yeah. So anyway, that's why I love voice acting, because you can have people that are, that age like you're supposed to age.
Yeah. Right.
And the women become fine actresses as they get older, and they still do little boy voices, only they're better.
Yeah.
I'm a way better actor at 55 than I was at 45. Way better.
Yeah. Well,
I'm more
luckily you
confident.
have the same voice.
Well, yeah. Now that
Right?
helps a lot too.
Because-
That helps a lot too if it doesn't keep changing.
Has your voice changed yet? Have you?
No, this is it. Yeah. Luckily, my acne is under control.
The proactive is working.
Isn't that great stuff?
It's awesome. Yeah.
Since you're
It's
going
really
into a
working.
character voice, I just want to ask you real
Yeah.
quick. Is there a method that you use? I mean, obviously you've voiced all these cartoons, and is there a method to use to create new voices? Is there a little trick that you use?
Well, that's a great question, honestly. I don't know if there's a particular method. Like most of us, I'm a big sponge, and so it's really, I think you'll find that most actors agree with me that it's easier to grab a hold of a real obvious voice, like that one. I mean, that's, everybody does their version of Pat Buttram, and I got great stories about him too. I mean, he's taking a dirt nap, so he don't make no difference if I'm stealing his voice. But that's an easy one because it's so different.
right.
But and everybody does their version of Christopher
Walken.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Walken,
right. Yeah.
right? Jess does it. The best is Jeff Bennett. So a lot of times I'll find something that is either a dialect or a voice like that, and you can really get your brain around it, and then you can add stuff to it. And we all talk. Even Mel Blanc, I saw something from 25 years ago when he was on Letterman, talking about Daffy and Sylvester being very similar.
But you get one voice like Yakko, and you start talking. It makes you guys do that.
Yeah.
Isn't that great? I just love that. And you guys are smiling too. These liquored up kids behind the camera, all smiling. It's
The
so
whole
cute.
crew's going crazy.
Yeah, it's just
Don't
great.
even. Yeah, we got to deal with that later.
And but you do that, and then and all of a sudden if you add some gravel to it, then you got something else. But it's the same placement. It's just something different.
Yeah.
And then if your voice starts cracking, then all of a sudden you have a different one, And then if you add a dialect to it, now you got the same helium placement with Pat Buttram, only higher. But you can also do it with the accent. So now you have this cracking and accent, and now you sound like crazy sort of Eastern European knucklehead, but you still have the same placement right here where you started with Yakko. But you got 3 or 4 voices all the time. So, and you could do it like this, or I did a character years ago in a great show, which never got the credit it deserved, called Time Squad. It was on from Cartoon Network, and the 3 main characters were played by Mark Hamill,
First
myself.
of all, I just got to say that was very
I
impressive.
know.
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
That
That was really cool.
I'm liquored up too. No.
Yeah. I'm
Drink
sure
up,
he is.
Shriners.
Yeah,
There
I
is
called him
water
earlier.
in
Hey,
all
Rob,
That's
how
right.
are you?
I
across
know
the
it's a
street at the
family
bar having
show,
some
but
shots.
hell,
we put water in it, but you may have added
That's
something.
right. Drunks have families too. I mean, it's a family show, and I can't do it without my fez on, as Donald Fagen would say.
But it was a show called Time Squad, and the 3 lead actors were Mark Hamill, Pammy Siegel, and myself, which was just crazy fun to begin with. But I played a character that I would. And this is another thing. I would never be considered on camera for the characters I get to play with my voice. Never.
Yes.
Ever.
Never. Not in a million
No,
years.
You don't look like that.
Yeah, and so what's great is it's all of us. The same thing. Nancy's been doing Bart
She's never
Simpson
gonna be
for-
a 10-year-old
yeah,
boy.
never. And so she's great at that. But I did this character called Buck Tudrussell.
Buck Tudrussell talk like this, big old policeman, you know.
And
I can do this all day. They ain't gonna tear nothing up, but I can talk like this all day. For actors, not like this, like this. There's a difference. You do them things like that.
You got to commit to
Right.
that.
That's what them she actors call organic. But you make them choices like that.
But what they did is they were able to treat my voice with some sort of mechanical electronic gizmo.
Yeah.
And you know, in the show, he's like a 9 foot tall, like a RoboCop guy.
It sounds like this all day.
Oh.
And it worked great.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter to them that they said, you know, it just doesn't have quite a big enough bottom end, but Rob's giving the performance we like, we'll just tweak it.
We can fix it, yeah.
So, and the same thing with Carl Weezer. I did him on Jimmy Neutron forever, and I could never be, you know, hired to do that guy. Not that I'd want to, because then chicks wouldn't dig me. Well, chicks might, but they would be
underdog
baby
wins
chickens.
some.
Which would
Yeah, exactly.
really
It would be
spooky.
animals.
Yeah, yeah. Well, hey,
Animals
you know,
would dig him.
whatever gets you through the night. I remember a Beatle said that.
I mean, you have such a long career that is going strong. I mean, how do you, obviously, the examples you've given are amazing, but like, how do you keep that creative well full?
You
Do
know,
you ever
honest
get
to God, Stacey.
stuck?
Well, I suppose we all go through periods where we just don't feel like it's working, you know. But honest to God, you know, maybe fear isn't the right word, but fear of getting stale for me is a real great motivator, and there are always new people coming along, and there should be.
Yeah.
I love that. I love new people to come to showbiz. I was a new guy once, and I remember when the first time I worked with Jeff Bennett, I just went, Jesus Christ, this guy is unbelievable. Jesse, same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd been in L.A.
He says the same thing about you.
Well,
Yeah.
bless your heart. But I'd been in L.A. for 14 years before I met Jess Harnell and Jeff Bennett.
Yeah.
Welker had been here for 15 years before I got here. Yeah. And he's, you know, kind of my hero and just a great guy. And so I love it when the new people come along. Now being one of the old guard, I want to keep my chops sharp because the competition is is more intense than it's ever been, with celebrities and so many people wanting to do it, and all the outlets and Disney and Nickelodeon and, you know, 15 Disney channels and everything, Comedy Central. But the challenge there, I think, as a professional, is to keep yourself sharp, because it's really easy to go, oh, I've done this forever. And yeah, there are certain voices you can do, like rolling off a log. But you know what? Like, I do private coaching, and I've had students kind of sit across from me and go, I can't wait till I'm like you. And I said, what? You mean gray hair and bitter? And they said, no, I mean, you just get work given to you. I said, well, that's true, but let me go ahead and finish your point. Are you finished? Yeah, okay. As soon as we're done here, and I'm going to take your money, and you are nice enough to listen to me, and you think I've got sage advice, and I do. I have good advice, and it's real-time advice, because I'm still working every day.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm going to audition for a talking ice cream cone after this. It's what we do. Yeah. I have an Emmy. I have a bunch of Annies. I've been nominated for a bunch of other things. I've got a Peabody Award. All of that's great.
Is a lawnmower?
I have a lawnmower.
Dishes?
I have
And
a
an
sebaceous
iPad.
Spare
cyst on
tire
my
for
shoulder.
his car.
Way too much, yeah. I'm an Amway Diamond distributor. It's not just soap anymore.
Nice.
Thank you.
Give me 30 minutes and a cup of coffee.
Are
I'll
you
take care of
for
you.
real on that?
No.
Oh, okay.
But I'll take care of you.
Because
You need some stuff?
Well, I have some stories, but
cool.
yeah, that's
Yeah, okay.
a different show.
That's right.
Different network.
I'm a Mary Kay distributor. I have a gold Cadillac out front. But I've got all this stuff, and I'm not going to give it back. But what we do is audition.
Yeah.
If I had won my Emmy for being on Frasier, we'd be having this conversation on my G5, because
Right.
I'd have made so much money for being the Emmy-winning Rob Paulsen. I'm still the Emmy-winning Rob Paulsen, but I won it for a daytime cartoon show. That's lovely, and it was great that my mom and dad got to see it and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm a rank and file journeyman actor, and I'm proud to be such. But I audition all the time, so the only way for me to keep, you know, when we all start acting and performing, it's for the Jones, this electric thing when somebody laughs or claps, or all of a sudden chicks dig you because you're in a band. It's like, wow, you know, that's why you do it.
Yeah.
And you do it for nothing. Well, then it gets to a point where if you don't act, you don't pay your mortgage. Now, I've been so incredibly blessed. My wife hasn't worked outside the home. She's been working very hard with my son, who's grown up now. But, you know, she hasn't had to work outside the home since 1983. And I've been able to put braces on his teeth and send him to college. And I'm not a movie star, but there's room for people who make their living performing, and we're able to do it. But having said that, the only way I can keep up with new talent and make myself relevant or keep myself relevant is to keep my chops going, keep working on my chops.
Yeah.
And there are just too many people. The competition is too intense for you to rest on your laurels.
Yeah.
It's really tough to just sit back and go, they know I can do that.
Well, on that note, I mean, from a coach perspective and from an actor perspective, how do you, and I know this is like we could spend a whole show on just this, but in a nutshell, if you can, how do you think an actor can break out in an audition and really stand out and not just be that, fast forward, really make them listen to your audition?
Well, in my case, I have a real strong improv background. So I recommend that to new actors as well, or even young actors. Take a lot of improv classes too. When you can get yourself comfortable in sort of shooting from the hip and making 180-degree turns, and that really is what helps a lot. Frozen with fear is kind of your worst enemy. Billy West says it best, and that is that voice actors are by and large fearless. Yeah. The good ones. DiMaggio, Billy, Jeff Bennett, Welker, D. Baker,
Rob Paulsen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jess, but the point is, Tress is another one. Tress, Nancy, they're absolutely fearless. Yeah. I can't even tell you how many times, the director will say, "We got this talking green apple. What do you?" And they'll come up with something and say, "What else you got?" And they'll come up with something else. Or like with Welker, I was with Welker on Smurfs years ago, and Gordon Hunt, the director, said, "Frank, we have a lobster that sneezes. You got something?" And Frank made this bizarre sound that. Like it's underwater sneeze, bizarre thing that can only, and Frank doesn't do any sort of chemical inducement at all, except an aspirin.
Yeah.
But he's unfettered by his physicality.
Yeah.
He's unfettered by his brain going, lobster sneeze. Oh, okay. And you just, so I wish I had a specific trick for that, but the more you do it, the more you do improv, the more you do things on stage with your friends, at whatever, the more you're free to really swing for the fences. And I use that term a lot, but I use sports analogies because I'm a sports guy, but it really is about not being afraid to just go for it. Yeah. And if I audition for something and it's an alien,
well, we all pretty much try to do our little alien voice, so it's all monotonic, take me to our leader.
And then you sort of do that, and then you think, well, maybe it would be different to do it like this. I don't know why.
That's
but
a cool alien.
It's why not? I mean, he doesn't live here. That could be an alien.
An alien from Alabama.
Right, you never know, right?
How do you know?
Who knows? But the point is that and I've had many times when a casting director will say to me, they'll bring me in for the show. I won't get the job I auditioned for. But they'll bring me in and say, you did something on the audition that was completely inappropriate for the character, as we determined it. But you were completely unafraid to try it. And so all of a sudden I get this recurring character because I threw something out there and said, wow, we have this talking coffee cup that is really just so bizarre. And when Rob did that thing, didn't work for the lead character that we had him read for, but he did this. All of a sudden I don't get 26 episodes, but I get 15 of them. Yeah. And then they'll say, we're doing a spin-off. Guess what? We want to have the coffee cup in the next episode, in the next show.
The coffee cup's a star,
right?
Though.
Happens all the time. Yeah. Pinky and the Brain was a great example. Pinky and the Brain was a part of Animaniacs, and because of the chemistry between the brilliant Maurice LaMarche and me, Mr. Spielberg and Gene McCurdy and Tom Ruger thought, oh, well, there's another show here, and so if I hadn't been open to the possibility of throwing out this weird sort of British accent about a mouse that can't pronounce his R's properly because it's got the severe maxillar occlusion. Yeah. No. Well, then you never know. And so it really is about, that's why I really encourage people to do improv. Do as many improv classes as you can in addition to your regular theater training. If you're a singer, sing. If you're a dancer, dance. Anything that makes you familiar with yourself and allows you to be fearless. Yeah. Because we all get nervous, but there's a difference between being nervous and being afraid.
And paralyzed.
Right.
Yeah, and if you can, make sure you do your improv under adult supervision.
Yes, exactly. Always do improv with no sharp objects.
Somebody to tell you, maybe you should not do that anymore.
Right, no sharp objects. Right, oh yes, please. For those of you who watch American Idol or any of those shows, you want to say, and it's heartbreaking because we all love to perform. I don't care whatever it is that you're passionate about, whether it's performing or working on cars or being a botanist.
Yeah.
You hate not being able to do about which you are passionate. However, because of the lure of show business, and we all get that, I've got the bug, and I get as much of a excitement today as I did when I was 20 years old. But when you watch shows like American Idol, you see people who literally are tone deaf. I mean, they really
my
can't
goodness.
find the note.
Yeah.
And the whole family has driven from
they have
Arkansas,
driven from
and you're like,
everywhere.
that whole drive cross country, didn't anyone ever?
Well, and they're waiting outside with the banners, and the guy
and God
comes
bless
in.
them, their families are
Yeah.
supporting them.
And I appreciate that, but then the
Yeah.
guy comes in and says, "Yeah, my name is Rob Paulsen. Where are you from?" "I'm from Grand Blanc, Michigan." "What are you going to sing for us, Rob?" "I'm going to sing All the Things You Are." "Okay, great, go for it." "You are the promised kiss of springtime, time that makes the
Rob?
lonely winter.
You're going to Hollywood.
Yeah. Right? And so you're thinking to yourself, and I understand that they have to have those people on because it's entertaining.
Right.
But you know, it would also be nice to have people say, "I love you so much. I love you so much that I'm going to tell you don't have a prayer." Now, you can go ask somebody else if you want to, but dude, you know?
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean that you can't do art for the sake of the art. I tell people all the time, you know, they say, "I live in Buffalo. Do I have to be in LA to do cartoons?" I said, "Well, the ones I do, you do, and you can't do that." So, but with the way that the internet is now, and with all these home recording devices and your friends, and you can animate these programs to animate, have a blast and do it for the passion that you have for the art itself. You don't always have to make money on it. And I have gotten many letters from people whom I've met along the way who have said, "You know, I love doing community theater, and that's enough for me. I go to work and I sell insurance, and I'm happy, and I'm doing Annie Get Your Gun for the next 6 weeks at the Brunswick Community Theater," and they're happy. Yeah. So they get to scratch their itch and not have to worry about making any money at it.
Yeah, so don't throw it away.
No, don't stop doing
Let it
it.
live.
Just you don't, And I always tell people that come out here that want to do voice work, you know, if you're young, continue doing what we all did, performing, doing that stuff. But because of the way the internet is now, you can you find any voice actor whom you really like. Myself, you guys, Jess, Jeff Bennett, Maurice. Go to their, Google them. You can find who represents them. And then you can go to their respective agents' websites and listen to their demos. Yeah. And if you can listen to the demo of Maurice or Jeff Bennett or D. Bradley Baker and still go,
"I got this.
I can compete with that." Yeah. Great. Good for you.
Then stay.
Yeah, good for you. And I would never pee in your party and tell you not to try it. Right. But I hate to use the word difficult, but the challenge is understanding the sheer numbers of people. It's like when I used to do on camera, I'd walk into a room, I'd have to have a little girl would be my girlfriend or my wife, and they all looked like Stacey. They were all gorgeous. Not as gorgeous as you.
She's gonna live this one out.
Oh no, but you know what I mean though, and you've
We're
seen
gonna
it.
air this episode weekly.
Yeah, but you know what?
Weekly.
She's being really way too modest. But it's true. I'd walk in and I'd go, all these girls are out of my pay grade. They're all stunning. How do they get a job? And all the guys were gorgeous. They don't. No cheekbones. I mean, total cheekbones, cut, 6 packs, And I go, what? But that's because they all come here.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing is true with voice talent. So that's why I tell people, like, you do a really great SpongeBob, that's great. But Tom Kenny is, last I checked, he's breathing.
We already got one of those, right?
Yeah. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Make sure that you're aware of what it is that you're stepping into, because it's an inexpensive, it's not an inexpensive proposition, and it takes its toll on your psyche. But that's showbiz. That's what it does. It can be brutal.
It's a business.
Yeah.
You're not going to learn this stuff at your local 7-Eleven, folks.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, everybody. Thanks for watching the show. Be sure and tune in next week for part 2 of the Rob Paulsen interview. It's going to be insane.
You don't want to miss it. So go to VOBuzzWeekly.com and subscribe. Plus, like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at VOBuzzWeekly. You guys take care out there, and just remember,
You always have time for a little buzz.